Thank you, Trant. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. He turns to you. You said you have a motive? Of course, excuse me. I just thought it was noteworthy. Yeah, well, there was the jealousy, and he killed the mercenary hoping to start a war between the company and the Union. I don't think that was the reason. There was jealousy. He didn't like to see this guy. I think jealousy was the one. I think he'd accepted that it wouldn't start a war. I think he'd accepted that the time of revolution was gone and past, didn't he? I'm not sure about the rage induced. He did go angry. Let's go with the jealousy. Jealousy. I thought this Lilianovic was an old man to have been hiding for 50 years. 70-something? A strange psychosexual fixation, aggravated, possibly, by proximity to the phasmid and its chemicals. He himself gave a political reason, said he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have ballistics from the gun matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Joss confessed to. It's a clean win. And yet, I don't believe that. Oh, it's way more than that. A perfect folding mechanism like the phasmid. It's way... Oh, I'm not saying I'll win her back with this. That's bad. It's my masterpiece. They'll teach this in cop school. I'm still not completely satisfied with it. It could be just a little neater. Get over yourself. You're not a perfectionist. You're a cop and you did a good job with a lot of help from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. He buttons his jacket. None of this can hide the smell of booze on the wind. Actually, I haven't even drained an entire bottle of lager in the 7 days I've been on this case. It is day 7? Yeah, it's day 7. A bottle of lager, I think, had 4 uses, and I've used 2 or 3 of them. So, shouldn't be that strong. It shouldn't. God damn it, doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. Guess I'm still drying out. It'll pass in time. Let's go for the phasmid was female, the reeds are its nest. Female? What makes you think so? You had to see it. It had the subdued colours of a female, and the nesting behaviour too, I think. Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest? Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though. He turns to you. It had gathered items in its nest, a helmet and a scope. Parther, I don't think I should mention that. Yeah, let's say it gathered items. Actually, you know, this would indicate it was a male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They're for attracting mates. Well, again, that does make sense as well. Bowers are built by males of species who can't afford colourful mating displays physically. This one was plain coloured. It could have been male, actually. It must be robust if it can move a helmet with its limbs. He trails off, lost in thought. I think it emits a chemical that makes it look even more like the reeds, because it's got the camouflage, right? Yes. That would be a chiromone, a pheromone that's seemingly beneficial to the host. It usually stimulates the affected nervous system. Not a human's, of course, but perhaps a predator's? The perpetrator seemed intoxicated somehow, like an addict. It's just a hunch, but... There are species of bees that, under the influence of chiromones, take wasp larvae to their hives. Ants do the same with aphids, thinking they're... He stops. Do you think this is how it stayed hidden? Nothing is off the table, but I want to stress this. The find does not have to be connected to the case. The case is 100% prosecutable without any chiromones. Of course, Lieutenant, of course. We should treat the case and the phasmid as completely separate from each other. People are not going to... He shakes his head. They're not going to go for this speculation in the constabulary. I don't want to know if I want to... Does it reproduce by parthenogenesis? Did it say that? I'm going to conclude. It had mandibles that looked like hair, and it was completely white on the inside. I don't want to say something that makes me look like a lunatic and wrong. I've got to be careful. Yes, but also reed-coloured, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs. Incredible, he repeats, turning to Vacamere. The PR value of this is exceptional. Cop discovers new species, maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much. No, it's not. It's fine. This would really help with some of the problems we've been having. Absolutely. This is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. He smiles. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo. Without it, yeah, without it, I would be going to the lunatic asylum. You're doing good here, perhaps only for a moment, but still. Quit while you're ahead? Or no? I don't... Started a nightclub with drug dealers. I don't think I should mention that, for all it was really fun. There was also a dead man on the boardwalk, a missing person I found. Yes, fallen through a gap in the boardwalk, drunk. How did you know I found him? The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff. You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us. Still, she says quietly, good work with the missing person detective. It's still a point for you, no denying it. I also looked into the mystery of the doomed commercial area. He shrugs. I don't know what a doomed commercial area is. Rue de Saint-Galen 10, a commercial building where all businesses go bankrupt. I looked into it. Why? That's not what you were supposed to do here. There was a fridge we needed and a possible witness. He was just chasing a lead and ended up advising a local shopkeeper. It was okay. Of course, she turns to Vacamere. Call it community outreach, right? Exactly. She's putting a positive spin on it. Dodged the bullet there. For a moment, it seemed like you were just wasting time. I don't know what I want to say. The previous head of the Debardeurs Union was assassinated by our killer. He didn't confess. He said he saw it happen. If I say that and get that wrong, it is... I'm going to go with it. He all but confessed, but didn't quite. Lieutenant lowers his voice just a little. This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open in Martinez, where Everard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere. And eyes too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed. Understood, of course. But a case against Everard would be big. The consultant, too, has lowered his voice. I would prefer not partake in anything union-related for political neutrality. So that's good. Do I mention the confiscating drugs from Cuno's dad? I wasn't sent here to do that. They don't care about it. It might make me look bad. Especially when I give some back to him. Right, I'm not mentioning that because that's gonna backfire. So what do you say? Want to take this hot shit back? Point to yourself. I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. He shrugs. So I have to. Jude? A quick nod. Anything that ends the trial is okay with me. Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go. Okay, so I'm still on the job. Okay, he sighs. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go. Wait, I have a few questions before we go about who I am. The man looks westward impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket. The Phasmid. I need to tell Lena about this ASAP. Who is Lena? She lives at 1113 Tabernacle Road in Jamrock, remember? A cryptozoologist. She lives in Jamrock on Tabernacle Road. She told me about this Phasmid. Tabernacle? It's on the way over, near where you live, on Perdition. She looks at Vacamere. Fine, if we're going to drop you off anyway. She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change. Watch out, or she'll faint. Do I want to ask more of this stuff? Lieutenant Kitsuragi, what will you do now? Well, first I'll go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all this. And then I'll have a serious talk with my captain about what? He's going to ask for a transfer. He's going to ask for a transfer for episode 2. He pulls up his collar and looks around, the cold spring light reflected in the lenses of his glasses. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate. Want to do that at Station 41? Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of 2 captains with my doom-mongering. No, I meant investigate. Come work in Precinct 41. Work with Price? Crooked smile quivers on his lips. I'm flattered, but I don't know if I would fit in. I'm crazy enough. Can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss. Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered. The man turns very serious all of a sudden. I would have to tie things up in GRIH first, but, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbour. And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant, she says with a smile. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even. I do like the sound of that, he returns with a smile. Achievement unlocked. Recruit Detective Kim Kitsuragi. That doesn't show up on the stream, unfortunately. It's from the GOG overlay. He's really considering it. Precinct 4. I think we can just ask all of these safely, I think. What kind of station is it? Us? We're the bloody murder station. Haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us. That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You're just understaffed, and everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price. Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station, and the district is too big, which is why we need to... He tilts his head northward. Go. Get back to it. We left Torson and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good. Torson and McLean? Did we recently shoot up a church by any chance? Why would I be pointing to the church? So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press. Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear. What happened? Why didn't we need to go there? I don't remember anything about this. Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up. He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. So I work in the... I don't want to ask these questions. So I work in the bloody murder station? Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. Coffee. A lot of good people work there. Hard. Every day. Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Revachol. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamlock only has us. The press will blow over, he says in a reassuring tone. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it. Thank you again, Lieutenant. They respect Kim quite a lot. Oh, I'm back here. Okay, I've got to ask. Who am I? Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry. What? Well, obviously not a gym teacher anymore, but before. Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. She looks around. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe... No way. I was a rock and roll singer. Oh, I'm going to say that does explain a lot, because if I say that, they're going to think I'm mad again. Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair. Hang on. I never got a chance to lift. I never found any weightlifting gloves to go and lift that barbell in the gym. The collection of Fallon sportswear I've amassed. The fact that you don't seem to know what homosexuality is, and your moves on the church floor, which honestly were just jump aerobics. The raw, robust stamina output. Also, this guy. Just everything about this guy. And this guy too. Me? God, even this javelin throwing freak here. Oh God, Contact Mike. Of course, Contact Mike. He's been on about Mike again? The detective shakes his head. I hate that guy. Contact Mike is a reprise of the most inspiring basic sporting principle of open competition. A 5,000 to 1 rank outsider. I remember reading about Contact Mike somewhere through the last 40 hours of this game. I just say that. Oh, you don't say? He arches an eyebrow. Does he also vault an impossible gulf of finance and privilege? It is getting cold out. She looks around at the dilapidated fishing village. He said in Coron, I was a gym teacher there? Yes, you taught gym in Quran. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher. The smell of sweat and glue, the worn floorboards. Quran is just east of Jamrock. It was a short walk every morning to the baseball field or the sports building. High school, Harry. Your goings on with Kuno, Andre, a seal, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you're so juvie. Okay. And when was this? When was I a gym teacher? In your 20s or late 20s? You've really let go of yourself since then. He looks you over. And when did I join the RCM? The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that. Oh, God. We're talking about some chick here. My ex-missus. You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with a spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope. Okay, I see now. I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher. And why am I like this? It's not a mystery. Some chick screwed you over. Also, you're a drunk. You really went with it too. Really maximised the damage. Some chick? Who? Dora something. Dora England? He thinks, yeah, you mentioned a name. Not Dora Dubois. Wait, Dora England? Something like that. Half Vassar. Vassar is where beautiful and impossibly blonde people come from, so we weren't even married. No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. When was this? God, I don't know. He says 6 years ago? She was way before my time. 6 years? Yeah, or 7? You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That, and Dora England really tore you a new one. A big one. Who was she? Incredibly bangable? Figures. Extremely bangable, Harry. Gorgeous. A gorgeous bourgeois woman. Waifish, like a Welkin, basically. Snow Welkin, blonde Welkin. I think they're like elves from fantasy, based on what I didn't get around to reading in the bookshop about fantasy board games. Heartbreak Welkin. Pain Welkin. I've only seen a picture, but it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from. Look, she turns to face the sea. The sun is about to go down. It's time to go home. I think she taught in the Académie des Arts east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? Pause it to think. A forensic psychiatrist. Go talk to that. I don't know. Okay. Am I a dirty cop working for La Puta Madre? No. No, because the suspects seem to think. You're too unstable to work for a mob boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you. I assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit. He would immediately backpedal out of it. I'm ready. Good. She looks at you, then Vacamere. Screw it, let's go. The man points down the street. Trant brought this motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock. The great district hums in the slowly falling snow. A chessboard of wooden houses. 80,000 living souls in the chimney stacks. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41 to Boogie Street, forking into the white horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. En Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. What? Square bullet? In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Esprit de Corps. Torsen? Yes. McLean? Yes. Hellstem? No. Vacamere? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say it like that, like it's a bad thing. Captain Ptolemy Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in the office and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the RCM. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Mino? Of course. They're making a list. Is the RCM going to side with something over something else? Is there going to be like a Disco Elysium 2 where a war kicks off between the like union and the corporation? Because I feel like that story wasn't finished. Judith Minot. Wonderful. A woman looks north. then can we please just go back to Jamrock now? That really was the end of the game. That really was it. Let me just move that webcam because that's kind of creepy up there. Let's shift that down. Oh, that's fine there. Okay. Wow. Okay. I've got two thoughts on the end of the game there. One, it was a really good ending. I mean, the final ending, the meeting with the detectives and the talking about the case and going over what we've done and the options and the decisions of what to say and the answers we gained from that as well. I really liked that. That was good. I apologise, by the way, if there's no music on here when there should be in other playthroughs. All the music's copyrighted and causing trouble on YouTube, so I've turned it off. So that bit was good. The actual killer, I didn't like that. I feel a bit let down by that. I feel like we had this wonderful story, this wonderful narrative going on between the union and the corporation and and then what turned out to be this weird spy who got messed up. We're talking about the woman, Classia, in this. And then was just like a pawn in everything that just went on. And the killer turned out to be just some random old dude who'd never surrendered from the war, who actually had very little to do, and in some case nothing to do, with anything that was going on in the rest of the town. And I feel almost like that's been bolted on at the end. Now, it's quite possible, because I don't know if there are other endings to this game that, and I might have to look this up on YouTube, if there's other potential perpetrators, and that was just one of the possible endings that we got. Or if there's other clues and stories that I've missed along the way that would have fleshed him out and made it a much more credible killer with a motive and all the rest of it. You guys might feel differently. You might feel like, wow, that's a really clever ending. I didn't see that coming. And I didn't see that coming. But I feel like it was just... Imagine watching a detective movie that goes on for like 2 to 3 hours, and they've got this wonderful cast in there playing all the parts of the potential murderers, and everyone, like in an episode of Poirot or Columbo, everyone's got some motive for bumping someone else off or framing someone else, right? It's all clever the way it works together, and you uncover all these plots and things going on, and all these other sub-motives and the reasons why they're all lying and covering up or framing one another. And then it gets to the end, and he goes, and the killer is this guy who we haven't seen for the previous 2 hours and 45 minutes, and you didn't know anything about. Ta-da! It was him all along, and nothing to do with all that. So that's kind of how I feel like it ended. And who knows, maybe there are other endings and we got the wrong guy, and it's just that we put the facts together, we added 2 and 2 and made 5. I don't know, I'd have to play through it again or look it up on YouTube to see if there's other endings. But the actual killer, I was less impressed with that. I loved the post-discovery of the killer ending of the game. Enjoyed the Phasmid bit, which was interesting, and really enjoyed the story and discovery and everything else that went on in the game. There were some bits where I was stuck, but and some bits just relied on getting lucky with a random roll on a check to go any further. Rather than investigation, it just came down to, well, dice roll. You're successful? Oh, yeah. You go on to the next bit of the investigation. There's nothing I could have done to influence that. But overall, I enjoyed Disco Elysium. Perhaps not the best game to stream because of all the reading. However, it seems to be quite popular on YouTube. So that's a good thing. Let me know what you think after that ending down in the comments down below. And I guess it is kind of set up for a Disco Elysium 2, which would be great. And I hope it's got more voice acting in. And if the developers should ever get around to watching this, I would happily volunteer to voice a part in that if they just want. If they can't afford to hire everyone for the character parts, I would happily voice a smallish part in that to help them out. So that would be great as a single player experience, or for a non-streamer experience. This is a really good game with a lot of story and reading. The hardest thing I've found about it is just the constant reading out for the benefit of you guys, the viewers. Sometimes, because often when I'm reading out loud, I'm focusing on getting the reading right and not always absorbing the information. You've probably noticed that. But I think it's good. I like the game. I think it definitely warrants another playthrough, which I probably won't stream, but I'll play through it. I'll run through it a bit quicker offline, just to see what else can happen. And there's other things we never got around to using. Like, for example, we found some extra clothing on the island, the +2 empathy thing, and I thought, brilliant, we're going to go back, we're going to use this, and there's a couple of empathy checks I need to do. We didn't get a chance to do that. Unless I do this now. And I'm not going to try this. I just want to see if I can actually go back to the island without arresting that guy. I don't know. Because otherwise, what is the point of having that clothing on the island? Unless it's random. That's the only reason that's the only thing I can think of. Oh, this is auto-saved it? Oh, never mind then. Anyway, that was Disco Elysium. And I enjoyed it overall. And I hope you guys did too. But I'd really love to hear your thoughts on everything about it down in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond. Anyway, so after this, I shall be playing, of course, The Outer Worlds, finishing that on stream on Twitch. Do please come and say hello. I love chatting to you guys whilst playing games live, so that's my favourite thing about streaming, more than playing the game or anything. I love answering your questions and talking to you, so please do come and check us out live on Twitch when I go live, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and sometimes on days in between. And plans for the future, Red Dead Redemption 2 at some point. Possibly, what is it, the new Star Wars game? Is it Jedi Fallen Order? I'm not 100% on that, so I'd rather wait for that to be on sale. Because it just doesn't look quite what I want out of a Star Wars game. But we'll see. And then next year, Cyberpunk, of course, when it comes out. So we'll see what we can fill in between then and now as well. Alright folks, thanks for watching. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game, so drop them in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.